Do you recall referencing a YouTube video earlier?
Yes.
How many YouTube videos are there?
Oh, numerous. 8, 9, 10.
And do any of them depict Tom Olson?
Yes.
And what do they depict him doing?
Arguing with Sharon Provost
Anything else?
and just not allowing people in the office.
Who did he not allow into the office?
Sharon Provost, Ellie Pollock, and Tony Lawrence.
Anyone else?
And Minerva, Spilito or something like that. Spilito.
And can you provide any information as to how one would access these videos on YouTube?
Just go in there and look under Sterling Green.
And was he physically restraining anyone in these videos?
No, he was just being a bully.
And how was he being a bully?
Just being obnoxious and arguing.
And how was he being obnoxious?
Objection form.
Several different ways, just degrading people, talking down to them.
Did he use profanity?
No, not that I can remember.
At the time Sharon Provost was demanding access, was this after she had been barred from the office?
Well, when you say barred from the office, who barred her? And when?
Objection non-responsive. When this incident that's depicted in the YouTube video occurred, was this after she had been barred from the office?
Objection form.
Tom didn't want anybody else in there except for his 2 people.
Are you aware that Cathy Hairbottle terminated Provost?
I heard that,
And
but she didn't have the authority to do it
what's the basis for that assertion?
because Cathy Hairbottle wasn't the office manager.
Were you aware that she was promoted to the position of office manager?
By who?
Objection non-responsive. Were you aware or were you not aware that she was promoted to the position of office manager?
I've never heard the previous board state that she was promoted.
Have you reviewed the board records for the time that Tom Olson was on the board?
No. I don't know if there's really any minutes to that.
Does the board keep minutes?
Of course.
Have you ever looked at the board records to determine how far back the minutes go? In other words, does the board have minutes for all of its meetings from, say, 2014 to the present?
I didn't see any for 2018, but yes, I have seen some from previous years, as far back as 2007.
Have you ever, in person, seen Tom Olson bully anyone?
Many times.
Who?
The list is too long.
Can you provide at least some of the names on the list?
Myself, Linda Buoy, Sharon Provost, Anthony Taft, Tony Lawrence, Tony Lawrence's grandson, numerous homeowners. I don't know all their names.
And when he bullied you, what did he do?
Just, you know, being argumentative and acting like he was the superior of everything. And
Did he put his hands on you?
no, if he ever does, he'll be sorry.
Did he ever touch you in any way?
No,
Did he use profanity towards you?
no,
Did you ever see him put his hands on anyone else?
Yes. Well, I didn't see it. I say no then.
Did you ever see him use profanity towards anyone else?
No.
Are you aware of any property of Sterling Green that Tom Olson currently has in his possession?
God, I hope not. If it does, it's probably illegal.
Objection non-responsive. Are you aware of any property of Sterling Green that Tom Olson has in his possession at present?
No, but I can guess probably which one it is.
Do you know who Rosemary Jackson is?
No.
Are you aware, strike that. While you've been on the board, has the board ever met in a meeting, other than an executive meeting, that was not open to the members of Sterling Green?
Say that again?
While you've been on the board of Sterling Green, has the board ever met in a meeting, other than an executive meeting, that was not open to the members of Sterling Green?
Not to my knowledge.
Has the board met when you were not in attendance?
I suspect they have, but I don't know that for sure.
Do you know who Andy Garza is?
Yes,
Were you aware he loaned money to the association?
I've heard that.
Were you aware that the association borrowed money from him because Dorothy MALVEAUX transferred money out of the Wells Fargo checking account, making it impossible for Sterling Green to pay its employees?
That was hearsay, and there is nothing that is legally binding on that because it was not notarized as a loan.
Objection non-responsive. Were you aware that there was, for a time after Dorothy MALVEAUX transferred money out of the Wells Fargo account, that Sterling Green was unable to pay its employees?
Yes. By hearsay.
Do you object to the decision that the board made to borrow money from Mr. Garza to pay its employees when it could not access its funds due to MALVEAUX's transfer?
Yes, I do.
Why do you object?
Because as I said, if it had been a working board, there would have been no reason for the funds to have not been there. And they could have voted on it and been paid through APT or whatever it is.
Did you attend Sterling Green board meetings in July 2018?
No, I was not on the board during 2018.
Did you attend them as a member of the community and observe those meetings?
The HOA homeowners meetings, yes, I did. Some of them. Not the board meetings.
What's the difference?
Come on. The board meeting is a private meeting for just the board members only. And the first Monday of each month, it's the HOA meetings that is open to the homeowners.
Are executive board meetings open to homeowners?
Objection. One.
Are non,
You answered it.
do you know what an executive meeting is?
Yes.
What is it?
It's an executive meeting that you have posted on what you're going to have a board meeting about with the board members only.
Are Sterling Green community members allowed to attend board meetings that are not executive board meetings? Are they allowed to witness, to watch those board meetings?
No.
Do you know who Sarah Bass is?
Yes.
Are you aware she did work for the association?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that there are certain items that can only be discussed by the board at an open board meeting?
Objection form.
Yes.
What are those things?
This isn't a legal exam, counsel. I'll instruct you not to answer.
Thank you. I mean, let's just do some questions that are worthwhile.
Do you know what the business Sarah Bass did for the board? What the services she provided?
She was doing some research about deed restrictions. And she was paid $5,000 for it.
Do you have any objections to the board paying her $5,000 to do research in connection with deed restrictions?
Yes, I would object to it if I was on the board to vote it.
Did you ever make any inquiries as to why the board hired her?
Again, Tom was running that. He wouldn't answer he did what he wanted to.
Objection non-responsive. Did you make any inquiries as to why the board hired Linda Bass?
Linda Bass?
I'm sorry, Sarah Bass.
No.
Were you aware that Sarah Bass actually only billed the board $900?
No. Like I said, there's no receipts back in those days.
Did you vote to remove Tom Olson from the board?
Yes.
When did you do that?
In an executive meeting, executive board meeting.
When did that meeting occur?
I'm not exactly sure. I have to go back and read my notes. June
Of what year?
2019.
Have you read the Sterling Green bylaws?
Yes, I have.
Do the bylaws permit the board to remove a member of the board, or do they require that the membership approve the removal of a board member?
Objection form. If you know, that's.
I'd have to look at my bylaws and to be for sure. But I'm not going to say because I don't know that one for certain.
Did you bother looking into it before you voted to remove Mr. Olson?
Yes, I did at that time. We spoke to an attorney.
What was the name of the attorney?
Tamara Simmerich. Or wait, no, she wasn't the attorney then. Chris.
Did you give documents to Dorothy MALVEAUX that you believed showed that Olson stole money from the association?
No.
Are you aware of anyone else giving Dorothy MALVEAUX documents? Strike that. Are you aware of any documents that you believe show that Olson stole money from the association?
Yes.
And what are those documents?
Copies of the checks that he cashed in his name.
Anything else?
There's a couple of checks that he wrote to vendors that we can't find on the internet.
When you say on the internet, what do you mean by that?
Just going and trying to locate a name.
Are you talking about looking at a bank account on the internet?
No, I'm talking about doing a research of to find to Google to someone's name to see where you can locate them.
And does Sterling Green currently have those checks that he cashed?
Yes. Well, the checks themselves, I don't know, but I've seen copies of them.
It has copies of the checks they believe he cashed.
No, that we know that he cashed.
And are you aware of any other documents that you believe show Olson stole money from Sterling Green?
None that I can think of off the top of my head.
Did you give any documents to Joshua Williams?
No.
Or do you know what documents that the association gave to Joshua Williams?
Yeah, the bank statements and all that.
Anything other than bank statements?
To be exact, no. I do know it was the bank statements.
Wells Fargo?
Yes.
When you joined the board of directors, were receipts for expenditures that were incurred while Olson was on the board in the Sterling Green office?
No.
How do you know that?
Because I looked for them. I cleaned up the office, or I assisted them in cleaning up the office. There was not one receipt in that office.
And am I correct that you joined the board about 6 months after Olson's active participation on the board ended?
I joined the board on March of 2019.
Do you know when Olson's active participation on the board ended?
So, sometime in the summer months of 2019.
2019?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So are you saying that Olson continued to actively participate on the board for 3 to 4 months after you joined the board?
Yes.
How did Olson actively participate as a board member while you were on the board?
He would vote.
Objection form, but go ahead and answer.
Okay. He would vote, help us vote on certain things.
Did you and Olson attend Board of Directors meetings together?
Yes.
Did Joshua Williams interview you in the course of his investigation?
Say that again?
Did Joshua Williams interview you in the course of his investigation?
I was there during meetings, some of the meetings.
Objection non-responsive. Did he interview you?
I don't know why he would need to interview me. I'm not his employee.
Objection non-responsive. Did Mr. Williams interview you during the course of his investigation?
No.
Did you observe him interviewing anyone?
Maybe you need to declare what an interview is.
Ask a person questions?
Oh, yes, I did. I was there and heard him.
Did he ask you any questions?
No. Mostly it was directed to the office manager.
Do you recall what questions he asked her?
Objection form.
Thank you.
I mean, you can answer to the extent you remember, but calls for a narrative.
I don't remember all the questions.
Do you remember any of the questions he asked the office manager?
The normal questions, like, do you have your statements? Can you furnish the statements to me? Is there any other information that you should be able to inform me of?
Do you know if the auditor was given Sterling Green Board of Director meeting minutes?
No, I do not. May I say something?
Sure.
Can we get this going, you know, instead of wasting all this money, because you're paying all this money to all the attorneys, and I don't mean anything negative, to the court reporter. So can we get down to things and let's get rolling?
I
There's
don't
no sense in
control it,
wasting
but I
this much
understand what
money.
you're saying.
Okay.
Are you aware of any documents that were either provided to you, strike that, let me rephrase that. Are you aware of any cloud-based accounts containing Sterling Green documents?
Yes.
And what accounts are those?
I don't know. I didn't go into them.
And how did you become aware of a cloud-based document containing, a cloud-based account containing Sterling Green documents?
Tom Olson told us that he had set them up.
And you never reviewed the,
No.
are you aware?
I do not trust anything that Tom Olson has done, and I will not use any of his websites.
Are you aware of anyone else accessing that cloud-based account to review Sterling Green documents?
Nope. They don't live with me.
You said earlier that you didn't know of any personal property that Tom Olson had stolen from the board, but you could guess. If you were to guess, what personal property were you referring to?
And Sterling Green,
What's
a foreclosure.
Are you referring to Sterling Green foreclosure documents?
No, I'm referring to a house in Sterling Green that's been foreclosed on.
And you're asserting that Tom Olson stole the house?
No, that's not what I said. I said if I had to guess, it would have been one of the foreclosed homes in there that he was involved with another attorney.
Anything else?
Not as far as I know. He lived with his girlfriend out there.
Williams made those assertions.
One of the assertions in Mr. Williams' report is that Olson spent $46,000 on employee raises. Do you know the basis for that assertion?
Nope. I just heard it was given to Cathy and Saif.
What was given to Cathy?
The raises given to Cathy and Saif.
Have you spoken to Cathy Hairbottle in the last 3 months regarding this lawsuit?
Not that I mean, I've spoken to her, but I don't know that we spoke about this lawsuit.
The independent auditor's report references balance sheets of Sterling Green. Have you ever seen balance sheets of Sterling Green?
Yes.
Does Sterling Green create balance sheets for each year?
I don't know. I'm not the treasurer.
When you reviewed these balance sheets, what information did they contain?
Objection form, to the extent you can remember.
Just what the balances are, beginning of the month and ending of the month, expenses, payroll. I'm sure you have a copy of it.
You'd think so. Have you ever seen Sterling Green statements of income?
Yes, I see what we've taken in each month.
Objection non-responsive. My question is, have you seen Sterling Green statements of income?
Yes.
And what information did these statements of income contain?
Objection form. How about just income?
They get HOA fees and everything else all month long. Let's just move this along.
Objection non-responsive. What information did these statements of income contain?
What has been deposited into the bank?
Anything else?
No.
The independent auditor's report states that the company's financial statements are misrepresented, misstatement, and do not accurately reflect its financial performance and health. Do you know what that statement means?
Objection form.
Say the last part of that.
The independent auditor's report says we believe the company's financial statements are misrepresented, misstated, and do not accurately reflect its financial performance and health.
And health?
Health. Do you know what that statement means?
I guess maybe you better enlighten me.
Objection non-responsive. Do you know what that statement means?
Repeat the question.
We believe the company's financial statements are misrepresented, misstated, and do not accurately reflect its financial performance and health.
You're saying our CPA made that statement?
Yes.
No.
You don't know what it means.
No, I know what it means. It's just that, no, he's not made that statement that I'm aware of.
I guess we'll have these identified as exhibits. A document produced in discovery by Sterling Green has been identified as Exhibit 1. It is SG 000434, SG 000435. It is entitled Independent Auditor's Report, and it was prepared by Joshua A. Williams, and it is dated June 26, 2019. My question goes to the bottom paragraph on the first page under Basis for Adverse Opinion. The first paragraph states, quote, "We believe the company's financial statements are misrepresented, misstated, and do not accurately reflect its financial performance and health," unquote. Do you know what that statement means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means that whatever information we presented to them, he doesn't believe is correct. But it also states it's because of the end of December the 2018, because we didn't have all the records for that information. They're missing.
Are you aware of the extent to which the Board of Directors authorized the expenditures that Sterling Green is now attempting to recover from Tom Olson?
Say that again?
Do you know the extent to which the Board of Directors authorized the expenditures that Sterling Green is now attempting to recover from Tom Olson?
Yes.
What is the extent?
That we have filed a lawsuit.
Objection non-responsive.
When an attorney says object and non-responsive, it means they don't like your answer.
Actually, it
I know
means-
that,
it means
and I
you
really don't
didn't-
care.
It means you didn't answer the question. It'd be like if I asked you, is it raining, and you said it's Monday. That's why they say objection non-responsive. So I'll try again.
That means you don't like the answer.
Are you aware of the extent to which the Board of Directors of Sterling Green authorized the expenditures that occurred when Tom Olson was on the board and for which it's now trying to recover from Tom Olson?
Yes.
And to what extent did it authorize the expenditures?
To hire an attorney.
Let me try it, objection non-responsive. Let me try it another way. Sterling Green is contesting that a series of expenditures that occurred while Tom Olson was on the board, that occurred from March 2018 through July of 2018, were unauthorized, meaning the board did not authorize those expenditures. What I'm trying to determine is, do you have any knowledge of the extent to which the Board of Directors actually authorized the expenditures for which Sterling Green is now trying to recover from Tom Olson?
Say it again.
There's a series of expenditures that occurred from March through July 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And my inquiry is, do you contend that the board authorized none of those, a quorum of the board authorized none of those expenditures, some of them, all of them? Do you have a contention on that issue at all?
No, because I was not on the board in 2018.
So am I correct in stating that you do not know the extent to which the Board of Directors authorized expenditures that occurred while Olson was on the board?
In 2018, no. I was not on the board, so therefore I was not entitled to that information.
And therefore my statement is correct.
Objection form, you don't have to answer the question. It's not a question, as he concedes it's a statement.
Objection non-responsive. No, it's 2018. Have you reviewed the board meeting minutes for the period March through July 2018?
You've already asked me that, and no,
Okay.
there's no minutes that I could find.
Do you know what Sterling Green's policies are with regard to document retention?
I don't know theirs personally, but I would expect that it needs to be saved for 7 years.
Do you know if Sterling Green has complied with that requirement?
I know that we are missing any type of documentation for 2018.
Were you where Dorothy MALVEAUX testified that they've destroyed all documents for the period prior to 2014?
Dorothy MALVEAUX did?
Yes.
No.
Do you believe that there are any actions that Tom Olson took that he was on, while he was on the, strike that. Do you know what the phrase good faith means?
Yes?
What does it mean?
Oh, good
Objection
God,
form.
come on.
Like I said, just a layman's if you want to know.
What is your understanding of the term good faith?
That you do it to the best of your knowledge and what you think is best.
Okay. My question is, do you believe that there are any acts of Tom Olson while he was with the board of directors that he took on behalf of Sterling Green that were not undertaken in good faith?
Objection form. You can answer to the extension, but.
Yeah, I did.
And what were those actions?
Objection form again.
I'd just say that I don't think he did anything in good faith. For Sterling Green, it was all hate and malicious.
And with regard to, I guess, every action then that he took while on the board was in bad faith.
Yeah, it's a scam,
What's-
con artist.
What's the basis for the contention that they were in bad faith?
Because I believe he's a con artist.
Anything
This
else?
is what he does for a living.
Anything else?
No.
Do you believe that Tom Olson failed to exercise reasonable care while he was a member of the Sterling Green Board of Directors?
Yes.
And does that apply to every act he engaged in while he was on the board?
No. I can't honestly say every act. But
What
most of them.
What acts of Tom Olson were, while he was on the board,
Objection form.
were undertaken by him while failing to exercise ordinary care?
Well, when you steal money from an HOA or any organization or individual, it is a crime.
And are there any other acts of his other than allegedly stealing money that you believe were undertaken without ordinary care?
Yeah, I think he was a con artist and got a kickback.
And who did he get a kickback from?
The Seal Company, which was our security company that he hired.
And have you seen any documents reflecting this kickback?
Oh, no, it would be well hidden.
And what's the amount of the kickback?
I'm not sure.
When you're saying he got a kickback, are you speculating?
I have reason to believe it.
And what's the basis for that belief?
I don't have an answer for you.
Does that mean you can't cite any specific evidence supporting that belief?
That's correct.
Did you know that prior to the selection of SEAL Security as the security company by the board while Olson was on the board, that Dorothy MALVEAUX had selected SEAL at an earlier period to serve as the security company for Sterling Green?
Not really. She may have tried them, but wasted money.
The Tom Olson contends that the acts he engaged in and the actions he took while a member of the Sterling Green board were taken by him with the best interests of the association in mind.
No, it wasn't.
Objection form.
And what's the basis for that contention?
Objection form.
Because he bought electronics with the HOA money and would not return the equipment to us after being informed by the judge and also being subpoenaed. I mean, not subpoenaed, but sent by a registered letter to return it.
And what equipment are you referring to?
Laptops, computer programs.
Anything else?
No, there's like 2 or 3 laptops. And a card charger for credit cards for the swimming pool.
anything else?
Nothing I can think of at this time.
And how did you, what's the basis for your belief that he has 2 or 3 laptops?
Because we had the receipts, and the one that he used to carry around with him to all the HOA meetings belonged to the Sterling Green Association, not to Tom. It was bought with our money.
And what was the brand of the laptop?
Come on, I am not going to continue to waste this money sitting here putting this stuff down that has no relevance to the case. Now we move on to something that's really important and get moving on it, or I'm not going to participate.
You're claiming that Tom Olson stole a laptop, and instead of, when I ask you for the brand of the laptop, you look at me, you treat the question like it's absurd. What is the name of the laptop?
I
you
don't
think was-
remember. I don't have it in my possession. I'd
That's-
have to go to the office
That's
and get it.
fine. So,
Objection for-
how many laptops do you allege Tom Olson stole?
Objection asked and answered.
She-
Don't answer
she
the
gave-
question, you already
she
answered
gave-
it.
She gave conflicting answers. First she said it was 2 or 3, then he said he had 1.
Objection asked.
Are you-
answered.
are you-
Instructing not to answer the
Are you
question. It's
alleging,
already been
are
asked.
you alleging he stole 2 or 3 or 1?
Objection form, asked and
I
answered.
decline.
Are you aware that in their discovery responses, Sterling Green isn't even alleging he stole a laptop?
I don't believe that.
Have you reviewed Sterling Green's discovery responses?
Yes, some of them.
What computer programs did Mr. Olson take?
I don't remember all the names of them.
How many computer programs did he take?
There was like $1,500 worth.
Objection non-responsive. What computer programs did he
Apple.
take? Anything else?
I don't know.
Is there any other personal property you contend Mr. Olson stole from Sterling Green?
Not that I can think of right now.
You contend Mr. Olson is a con artist. What's the basis for your contention that he's a con artist?
Because he moves into
Go ahead, go ahead.
moves into subdivisions and starts chaos like this so he can spend more money.
Is a board member allowed to be in possession of Sterling Green property such as computers?
I don't really know the answer to that. I would think it would depend on who the person was. But if they're employed by the HOA, then yes.
Did anyone tell you that Mr. Olson has Sterling Green laptops?
No, I know he does.
Objection non-responsive. Did anybody tell you that Mr. Olson has Sterling Green laptops?
Yes,
Who?
Sharon Provost.
Did anyone tell you that Tom Olson is a con artist?
No, that's my own thinking.
Do you have any knowledge of the settlement of a Department of Labor claim?
Yes,
What is that knowledge?
Objection form.
Tom Olson reported it and made a settlement with them. But I think it probably could have been done better. And I think it was done out of spite and hatefulness.
How could it have been done better?
It could have been negotiated better.
Did it concern the failure of Sterling Green to pay overtime to security guards?
Yes.
Do you have any other objection to the settlement other than the fact that it could have been settled better?
Say it again?
Do you have any other objection to the settlement other than it could have been settled on better terms for Sterling Green?
None other than I think, you know, it's pretty hateful when you do things out of revenge and spitefulness.
Are you aware that counsel advised Sterling Green to pay the penalty immediately to avoid further costs related to that violation?
What part of Sterling Green did that? Because there was nobody other than Tom Olson at the time.
Objection non-responsive.
If you don't know the answer, you can say you don't know.
I don't know.
Were you a board member at the time that the Department of Labor complaint was settled?
No.
Have you reviewed any documents pertaining to that settlement?
Yes.
What documents did you review?
I went to the labor board myself and looked at them.
What did you look at?
The payouts and everything to the employees.
Did Sterling Green ever ask Tom Olson to justify or explain the expenditures that he incurred while he was on the board?
Many times.
When?
In 2018 and 2019.
And what were the dates that those requests were made?
Oh, there's too numerous.
And who made the requests?
We did, I did, the treasurer did, Sharon Provost did, Walter Gant did, several people did.
We will reserve the balance of our questions for trial.
On behalf of Sterling Green, we don't have any questions.
I don't have anything on reserve. I don't have anything.
We are concluded.
Thank you.
Offer to close it.
I think we've